On Wednesday, the 16th of June 2021, the regular Sodom protest for PMQs gathered. That afternoon, Steve Bray, Mr. Stop Brexit, ran into a Conservative MP, Lee Anderson, sitting outside a pub. There was some exchange between the men, and a clip of video was later released by Mr. Anderson. The clip Mr. Anderson published is 17 seconds long. The short clip has, it seems, been carefully selected to present poor Mr. Anderson as the victim of an unwarranted and unprovoked intrusion upon his quiet afternoon pint.
Have you got to be a Conservative MP to lie to people?
No, just get a job.
Then why do you lie to people up north? Why do you lie to people up
Go and get a
north?
job.
You're so angry.
Don't contribute towards society.
I do.
You're nothing but a parasite, a malingerer and a scrounger. Now clear off.
The actual encounter lasted over a minute, but you need a little background to understand what is going on. This second clip from the same encounter is very important if you want to understand what is actually happening here.
You're a public nuisance. Clear off. I'm having a drink with my friend.
You started having a word with me, so I thought I'd come over and have a word with you.
Steve says, "You started having a word with me, so I thought I'd come over and have a word with you." He is here referring to an earlier meeting. This previous encounter is from a month before, Wednesday the 19th of May. Note who here comes into view, but also note that he doesn't attract any attention from any of the Sodom regulars. We don't recognize him. Not even Steve recognizes him. Steve, who has spent 4 years shouting at politicians, doesn't know this guy from Adam. That surely tells you all you need to know about Mr. Anderson's impact in and relevance to Westminster. But watch what he does.
Hey up, Lee here, I've got Marco. Hi mate. Look here, the legend that is Brexit Steve. Stop Brexit Steve. Steve, why don't you get a job?
Got one. I'm
What
a
job's that?
anaesthetist. I'm self-employed, but thank you very much.
Unemployed, not self-employed, unemployed.
You're a liar.
Mr. Anderson clearly believes he's being very clever. We've seen similar gambits before, louts who believe they've just scaled the pinnacle of wit, but not MPs. Surely this behaviour ought to be beneath the dignity of an MP. But more importantly, it is not wise for an MP to be witnessed, let alone filmed, let alone film himself spouting demonstrable lies. And it is indeed a lie that Steve is unemployed, which, being so very clever, Mr. Anderson immediately publishes on social media. Who is this debonair genius? 4 years ago, he was a local councillor, a Labour local councillor, so clearly a man of unshakable and principled political conviction. Having won the seat of Ashfield as a Conservative, he assumed his position with dignity and probity. No, just joking. He was within a matter of months the subject of internal Tory party discipline for social media references to women's knockers, for suggesting that women should probably stay out of politics as their childcare duties would get in the way, and then he threw in a nice bit of anti-Semitism. Good to see he doesn't neglect the classics. But it doesn't end with mere misogyny and anti-Semitism. No, why stop there? This isn't amateur hour. No, this paragon also suggested forced labour camps for nuisance tenants.
Let's have them in a tent, in the middle of a field, 6 o'clock every morning. Let's have them up, let's have them in the fields, picking potatoes or any current seasonable vegetables. Back in the tent, cold shower, lights out, 6 o'clock, the same the next day. That would be my solution.
And just to round it off, he faked a television spot that attempted to fool viewers into believing that he had persuaded Labour voters to swing to the Tories.
It was only after Lee Anderson had left us that my cameraman producer had the chance to tell me that because Anderson was wearing one of our radio microphones, we'd managed to record him setting up the apparently spontaneous doorstep encounter beforehand.
No, just make out you don't make out you know who I am. You know I'm the candidate, but not a friend. All right. I'm at staff car park. Have a quick look. Yeah. All right, I'll see you in a minute.
Although he should probably have briefed his stooge a bit better.
I watched that video.
Yeah.
What do you mean, putting antisocial people in tents?
Yeah, I did. I think you were a bit soft. I think you're a bit soft on it.
A bit soft?
Yeah.
What would you do then?
I'll give Cat and Nine Tails for.
Nine tails?
Make them wear a pink tutu. That'd stop them going round bullying anybody.
What about that?
I can't support this. Can we just cut there for one moment, please?
Women, who can hardly expect their breasts to escape his comment, should be at home bringing up babies and not troubling their little heads with matters of politics. Jews are controlling the world, forced labour camps are the future, and the making of false propaganda is a perfectly valid tool to political ends. Looks good in his black shirt, doesn't he? Both days we ran into him, he was sporting a black shirt. Actually, if you check out his social media, once out of the suit and tie required in Parliament, he's usually wearing a black shirt. I remind you, these matters were addressed by an internal disciplinary hearing in the Conservative Party, and they are here reported by the Daily Mail. These are not the partisan organs of the left. So it is a matter of record, a record made by the Conservative Party itself, that Anderson deceived his prospective constituents, that he is a liar. Some of you viewing this might want to believe that Steve is unemployed, but for goodness sakes, if he were, as Anderson puts it, a scrounger or parasite who makes no contribution to society, the implication being that he is on benefits, well, the Tory regime would have sanctioned him long ago. I mean, he turns up on the news. The Benefits Office would know where to look. And note that Anderson also calls Steve a malingerer, which means one who pretends to labour under ill health. But, as anyone who has witnessed Steve's weekly chase of Johnson up Whitehall will know, his good health is pretty conspicuous. And as for Steve making no contribution to society, I believe it's a very important contribution to society. What Steve says in the clip that you'll see shortly, what he says to a lying misogynist, and anti-Semite, who wants to initiate forced labour camps, whilst sporting his natty black shirts, not to mention, of course, supporting Brexit, which is destroying our economy and has already destroyed our standing in the world, and not forgetting being part of a regime that sent plague into care homes and which has presided over the highest COVID death rate in Europe.
Lee Anderson,
You're a public nuisance.
you're a parasite.
You're a public nuisance.
You're a Tory, you lie, you cheat, and
Clear
you
off.
deceive.
You're a public nuisance. Clear off. I'm having a drink with my friend.
You started having a word with me, so I thought I'd come over and have a word with
Run
you.
for Europe, run down there, clear off and get on my nerves. Go on.
No,
Go on, clear off.
no,
Clear off.
no, I'm on a public footpath. What are you going
You're
to
just
do?
an absolute nuisance. An
Lee,
absolute
Lee,
nuisance.
when you tell lies to people online, what do you expect?
Why don't you go stop Brexit, Steve?
Why don't we stop this corrupt government? It's even more important. Anyway, Lee, you're a waste of space. I'm not going to bother. Bye. Bye, Lee.
As I like to say,
Self-serving liars are destroying our nation!
or as Steve himself likes to put it,
Boris Johnson, liar, cheat, charlatan and fraudster.
and it is so very sporting of Mr. Anderson to so affably present himself as exemplary of our points.